3 years ago, this truck was literally a bare frame I bought from the junkyard. And today, it's a complete '03 Silverado that I'm building into a 4x4 drag truck. Last time you saw it, we built an exhaust and took it for its first test drive. But there are a few more bugs that we need to work out, because as soon as we do, we're installing not one, but two turbos. So today we're installing the most important sensor on the whole truck, getting the tune dialed in, and putting some miles on it for a proper shakedown. But first, we got to get started with the transmission cooler. So here's what we're going to build everything out of. This is some Summit PTFE hose, same stuff we use for our fuel line. So this is inert pretty much to any automotive chemical, including, E85. So it'll work perfect for transmission fluid. Of course, we grabbed an assortment of fittings. We're going to probably use 290s back on the transmission, up on the trans cooler. I'm not sure yet, but we also did pick this cooler up from Summit, as well as, if we can see them back in there, the 5/8 inverted flare to 6AN adapters that you need to convert that type of 40K cooler to AN hose. I'll put some links down below for you guys, just to make it convenient if you want to build some transmission lines or whatever for your truck. And then, the transmission cooler bracket, that was an eBay item. I'll try to put a link for that as well, because it's handy actually. I'm pretty happy with how it worked out. So we'll build some hoses. We'll probably do some tuning as well. I got to get a wideband installed, which I have that finally here on the shelf. So we're so close. So let's jump right in and get this thing done. Before we get back into the build, I've teamed up with DraftKings Predictions for today's video. Big thanks to them for sponsoring this. So DraftKings Predictions is a new way to trade on real-world outcomes across sports, pop culture, and even things like crypto and the markets. It's available in major states like California, Florida, and Texas, and it gives customers a hands-on way to engage with what's happening beyond just checking the scores. You just open the app, browse a market, say the total points of the big championship football game, and choose yes or no. Each event contract pays out $1 if the event happens and $0 if it doesn't. So pricing is determined by how many customers think something will happen. It feels super intuitive once you try it. With the biggest football matchup of the year coming up, there are tons of markets to explore, like whether the underdog comes out on top or whether the total score goes over or under. It's a really cool way to make the game more engaging without needing anything complicated. So if you want to check it out, sign up using promo code Tolman. New DraftKings Predictions customers get up to a $75 first trade bonus paid in Predictions dollars. The crown is yours. Again, huge thank you to DraftKings Predictions for partnering with the channel. Now, let's get back to the build. Turns out a short length of hose isn't that effective as a transmission cooler. Who would have thought? One thing you guys might not know about me is that approaching the end of the build like this is actually the hardest part of the project for me. This is where the idea comes to life, but once it does, there's no turning back. As soon as I turn the key, fire up the engine, and go for the first test drive, I'll inevitably find things that bother me, and once that happens, my first reaction is to want to throw it all away and start over. I'll give you an example. After my first test drive, I noticed that the front coil spring would occasionally rub on the shock tower that I had built, and this bugged me so much. The suspension still functions as intended, and in all reality, it's a pretty minor issue, but to me, I see it as a monumental failure, and I want to redesign the entire front suspension, or even give up on the project as a whole. I think what it comes down to is that after having this idea of the 4x4 drag truck in my head for so long, and after expending so much effort, time, and money on the build, I expect perfection right out of the gate. But the reality is nobody gets it perfect 100% of the time. But that's hard to accept for me, but I'll promise you this. I'm not going to give up on this project, and in the end, I'm going to fix all the minor issues that we find, and I will make this truck exactly how I imagined it. Okay, I want to run the OEM Escalade beauty covers or whatever, because I think it looks neat, even though this is not the final wheel we're going to run. I'm also going to swap these lug nuts out. These are just a universal aftermarket 1/2-inch lug nut. The problem I have with these aftermarket axles and the screw-in 1/2-inch wheel studs was finding a lug nut that had a big enough taper to fill the factory seat, because these OEM wheels have a really wide taper. But I found these from a place called lugnutguys.com. It's just like the M14 lug nuts up front with the 22 millimeter hex, but it has the 1/2 inch thread pattern that will fit on the aftermarket 1/2 inch stud. So we're gonna get these swapped out, but I also need to trim the wheel studs down just a little bit. These were the really long version. So I'll trim them down just so they barely poke out beyond the end of the lug nut, which I think will get us by NHRA Tech. C-clip eliminator and the screw-in wheel studs. But it'll also fit with our beauty cover and our OEM wheels. So, we got a bit of a side quest to take care of real quick on a truck you probably didn't think you would see again on the channel. Boom! Second gen Cyclone, back in the shop one last time before John comes to pick it up. If you remember, this is the giveaway truck that we built over the last 1.5, 2 years or so. We did a sweepstakes on it. John from Arizona was the winner, and he's flying in tonight to grab it. First thing in the morning, he'll come to the shop here. We'll pass it off to him, let him see the truck for the first time, then he's hitting the road. But the only problem is his path home is gonna take him over the Rocky Mountains, which, given this time of year, can be a little bit snowy and treacherous. And John, rightfully so, had some concerns about the high-performance summer tires that we have fitted on the Cyclone. I mean, they're great for autocrossing, but not so much for driving in snow. Even with the all-wheel drive. So, John ordered up another set of tires and we mounted them up here. This is it's a Falcon Wild Peak. From what I have read, these are a really, really good all-season tire, and it has that 3-peak snowflake symbol, which means they're great in the snow. Unfortunately, a long time ago, I sold the original 15-inch S10 wheels, but I kind of hated how they looked, so instead I went to a junkyard and I found these S10 Blazer wheels. Same size, same fitment, but I really like that pattern a lot better than the S10 wheel. So we'll get these installed on the truck. I already mounted them and balanced them. And John will be here first thing in the morning to see his new truck. Now, this is probably gonna look a little bit strange. I'll give you that, but it's temporary. And even though it is a much bigger tire than what we had on there before, it's the original size. And I already did a fit check with one of them just to make sure it clears when you turn and drive and all that good stuff. The only thing I couldn't find was a set of original center caps. That would kind of be the icing on the cake. Ready to see it?
Yes.
All right. Come on in.
Right about that red.
Feel free to walk around, take a look. It's all yours.
Look at those nice all-weather tires for the drive.
And the taller diameter, they'll be perfect for your long drive home. Probably get a little better fuel mileage for you.
Is it scrubbing? Oh, speaking of that, what am I expecting? How many gas stations?
I have no idea. I typically don't check fuel mileage. There you go.
It's a first try. Oh, wow.
There's a lot packed under the hood.
Holy cow.
It's a tight fit. But you can get, again, it's for any LSA, whether it's a CTSV or a ZL1, you go like a 10% or 20% over. So you could really, really crank the blower speed up on this if you want.
I think this thing would handle 20. It's so different when you get in front of it. I've been holding. Should I do it?
Yeah, fire it up. What it is about this exhaust, this combination of mufflers, but it's about the perfect I've ever come up with. No drone, it sounds cool. I mean, it performs well, it's pretty cool all the way back. No, it's great. It sounds great.
Holy cow. I'm going to get some people looking at me
E85 station near you?
I do. I have one. I have one a couple miles away.
Perfect.
And it's going to live on. We'll swap. What's in it now?
Right now it's just 91.
Good. Yeah, that's all I plan on running it all the way down to Phoenix. So.
There we go.
Oh, she's smooth.
It pulls nice. All right, so that wraps the sweepstakes up. Congratulations to John. The truck is officially all yours. I hope you enjoy it. And we're going to be doing more of these at some point. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but you guys could be standing here before you know it, taking home something equally as cool. So enjoy, John. It's all yours now.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I have no idea where we left things off because I started making this video a couple of weeks ago, but we have the transmission cooler lines done and they're all tight and stuff. So we just gotta do a leak check real quick. Gotta get the wideband installed at some point here, but I wanna drive this thing again and see if we got our torque converter issue solved. Hopefully I made some adjustments in the tune, but I wanna put some miles on it so we can find out. A lot of people did ask about the cam that we're running in this after the last exhaust video. So it's a 6.2 L92, basically a truck LS3. It has a Howard's cam in it, 224 intake, 224 exhaust duration at 50 thousandths lift, 612 total lift on it, 115 degree intake center line. Or lobe separation angle, I mean, installed at I think 108 or 109, but pretty nice sound from an LMM Duramax muffler. Can't play the radio for you guys because of copyright and all that, but the radio works. This thing feels pretty peppy too, like still untuned. That's like the very next thing that we have to do. But I wanted to get the transcooler in obviously so we can drive it without cooking the transmission. Wanted to make sure we got the torque converter clutch thing sorted out, which, if it locks up, yes, it just did lock up. So we're good there. I had to dial in the, or basically raise the misfire monitoring threshold, because it thought it was misfiring, and when the computer thinks it's missing, it won't lock the converter. So we adjusted that. And really now the last thing I have to do is get it tuned and calibrated, which I need the wideband for that. But I mean, with the 6.2, with a few parameters that we changed, it actually runs pretty dang good. It's pretty responsive. And of course, we're still naturally aspirated. So I imagine when we get the twin turbos on here, it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Anytime you modify an engine like we've done here with larger displacement and a performance camshaft, you have to tune or calibrate the computer so the engine runs properly. Now, one of the most important tools that I use as part of the tuning process is a wideband air-fuel ratio gauge, which allows us to know exactly what the fuel mixture is at any given time. We'll feed this into a data logger and then we'll compare it against the expected or commanded air-fuel ratio, which will then allow us to calculate a percent error, or how far off from our target are we running. We'll let the truck idle, we'll drive it around in varying conditions for a little while, we'll gather as much information as possible, and then we'll make some changes to the computer, and we'll rinse and repeat the process a couple of times until we get it running exactly how it's supposed to. Now, we are going to be turboing this truck in probably a month or so, and when that happens, we're going to do the whole tuning process all over again. But at least for now, we can get everything dialed in so we can drive it for about a month or so and work out any bugs that might come up. So after a little bit of driving around, we have our first batch of data. The green cells are rich, the red are lean, so we just have to make those changes to the main fuel table. But in a nutshell, that's the tuning process. And after a couple of revisions, this is kind of what we're after. Most of the numbers are like plus or minus 5, which means our VE table is getting pretty well dialed in. So this will probably be the last like major revision. And I'm just going to drive it. So we're pretty much at the point where I'm going to consider this truck like daily drivable. It's been 2 or 3 days since I've been kind of tuning it on and off. Got everything pretty much dialed in where we're ready to go back to the blended airflow model where they use both mass air meter and speed density. Truck runs good. There are a few little quirks and things that I've noticed. Like it has 342 gears in it, for example, because originally I was planning on putting the turbo big block in this. With the 6.2, 342 is probably not the ideal gear for it. It should really have like 373s or 410s. We'll probably swap that out at some point. Suspension, we've just been kind of dialing in a little bit on the adjustments because I haven't really touched any of that. We have Viking Crusaders front and back on this. Torque converter, it's a stock stall speed converter, doesn't work great with the cam, and then just the engine isn't optimized in terms of airflow with the stock airbox, the stock 5.3 exhaust on it, things like that. So we could probably fine tune it even more, but I don't want to build a naturally aspirated truck. The whole goal this whole time has been to twin turbo this, and my only reason for driving it is just to kind of make sure all the little bugs get worked out, because remember, we assembled this from junkyard parts. Like, we started out with a bare frame and now we have a truck, and there's probably 10 or 11 or 12 different trucks in here all told. But yeah, I just want to make sure everything works. I don't know if I'll charge the AC up yet. It's been a weird winter, but it's not that warm yet. But yeah, I'm really psyched right now. And even the little details like having those Escalade center caps installed now, front and back, it's like the icing on the cake. I love ugly trucks. I mean, obviously, that's kind of my thing, but to me, this brings happiness. So thank you guys for watching. Come back soon. We get a twin turbo build in the works.